Greetings and welcome to the Homeless Consultant channel. My name is Paul B. I am the Homeless Consultant, and this trailer video is meant to give you an introduction to what this channel is all about. Now, to begin with, I'm going to launch a brief series called How Not to Do Business. And you may wonder, what could a homeless person possibly have to say on that subject that is relevant to anyone out there? Well, you're going to be surprised, I think. And I intend for these videos on business to be relevant to business students, business schools, people who operate businesses at all levels, from small businesses all the way up to executives of multinational corporations. And it's a pretty big challenge, and I'm going to have to prove myself to you. But I think I'm going to be able to do it, and here's why. Before I became homeless, I had very good jobs. They paid well, they were very fulfilling. In fact, the organizations I worked for in 2 cases created jobs specifically for me, for my talents and skills, and I was very grateful for that, and I was very good at it. The instant I became homeless, the moment I lost that permanent address, all of that was gone. Those opportunities were gone. And the only job I could get is the one I have now. And I'm going to use that employer as an example of how not to do business. Because the truth is, as if being homeless and living in a car is not enough to drive a person crazy or suicidal. To work for a company, to work for a small business that violates all the standard rules of business practice, that ignores the law of supply and demand, that has ethical issues, to be more or less forced to work for a business like that, in many ways is worse for me than being homeless. And yet it's the only thing I can get, it's the only way I can survive. So I'm not out to get this employer, but I have never seen a more profound example of incompetence when it comes to running a business. Now, by pointing this out to you, showing you how not to do business is a way for you to learn how to do business. Just like anything else, one of the best ways to learn how to do something properly is to study how it's done improperly. Warfare, for example. You want to study the mistakes that were made in the past so you don't repeat them. So I think I'm up to the challenge with that series, and the reason I'm introducing things with that series is because I want you to have a little faith in me. I want you to see how I operate and how I think. And I think what you're going to find is that contrary to what the media tells you, what the government tells you, and what popular culture tells you, even though I'm homeless, I'm sane, I'm sober, I'm intelligent, I'm well educated, and not only am I not lazy, but it's almost a certain bet that most of you out there do not work as hard as I do. I'm going to break a lot of myths here. I'm going to bust a lot of myths. I'm going to expose a lot of lies. And unfortunately, the mass media, the corporate media, even the alternative media, even the media that means well, they get so caught up in the touchy-feely, tree-hugging form of talking about homelessness that they're ignoring the reality of it. They're trying to present an image of what it's about. On this channel, you're going to learn the reality, because I've learned the reality the hard way, and I'm able to communicate it. That's my goal for this channel. And one of the things you're going to find throughout all of this is I'm going to talk about how things are not as they appear, how you cannot judge a book by its cover, for example. Judging a book by its cover is often a recipe for disaster. Sometimes you think you know what you're seeing, and you're not. To be honest, when you see those people on the street corners holding signs, begging for money, you're often, if not always, seeing what you think you're seeing. You're seeing people who may even have a home, and they make more money standing on a street corner with a sign. What you don't see are most of the 3 million homeless Americans who work for a living and who hide in the shadows. They have to hide, because if they don't, the police will harass them, people will harass them, there's a lot of violence against them, And for someone who just a few years ago was working for a large international corporation, doing magnificent work with a fantastic team, doing things that I'm very, very proud of. This is going to be quite unlike anything you've seen, even on NPR. NPR does not tell you the truth about homelessness, its causes and its effects. The truth is, I prefer to look a little more like this. I prefer to dress a little more like this. But it's hard to do when you live in a car. And it's even harder to do when you work for a small business like I am, where every single day, everything I've learned throughout my life, in school, in college, the experience in the working world, again, working with magnificent teams, where all of that is turned upside down by someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So I really do hope that this series on business will help those of you who do business out there. I hope it'll help you think about things in a way you haven't thought about before, or maybe just in a long time. But beyond that, I'm going to talk about my experience being homeless. I am now qualified to be a consultant on that topic, something I never thought would happen. And if you will allow me to teach you what I have learned the hard way, I would be most grateful, because I think what I have to say means more than everything you'll hear from ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, Fox News, NPR, the alternative media combined. Now, if you are interested in this, please do subscribe to this channel. Please like any videos that you do like. Leave comments, ask questions. And to be honest, one reason I'm doing this is to try to raise some donations so I don't have to sleep in a car anymore. I'll give you an example of why it's no fun sleeping in a car. Here's a photo of what my car looked like the other day when the wheel fell off. Not only is that very expensive to repair, but when the police arrived and they wanted to tow it to an impound lot, and I had to tell them that I sleep in that car, and I didn't have the money to fix it, that was quite a predicament. That's just one example of what it's like. Anyway, that is what this channel is all about. Again, my name is Paul B., the Homeless Consultant. Thank you so much for watching this trailer video, and again, please do subscribe, like any videos, and if you feel so compelled, I would greatly appreciate putting a little change in the tip jar. Thank you very much. I look like Manson. I see you in your sleep.